So create call. Create call, we can see that yeah, it's a step to create a call in JSON. So depending on what data format our test server consumes, it will create the necessary necessary test step. So if it would consume as well XML, it would create a step in XML, and of course the body would be in XML. So as you can see, all the fields that are required for the service to be functionable, it's there. So in Appimation, we have, let's say in our domain specific language of Appimation, we have the notion of variables as well. Like I said, you have an environment file, for example, and there you have global variables. But in the steps and the cases, you can define and use your local variables. So right there, you have the variables, and when we create the test case, we will define those variables, or those variables can come from other steps. For example, if we use grep functionality. So we have steps. We see that we have some fields that we can change. All of our resource functionality, all of our resource functionality is actually secured. It's secured by this Xclient project and Xclient token. So everyone who has here created Appimation account can use their credentials, like the client token that you've generated right there, and the client and the project that I can show you, that I'll show you later how we get it, to basically access all of these test API, these resources and then functionality on them. So, okay, we have the steps. We will tune them a little bit later. Let's create our first test case, test scenario. We will use generate command to do so. So again, let's type Appimation generate case, or let's make sure that it can be used. Again, Appimation generate -h. Yes, we have the case. -h again to see what needs to be filled in. So we see that the Appimation generate case, we have to provide name for the case. All right, let's provide the name. Now let's call it call resource CRUD. So we'll create one scenario that will test the creation, read after the creation. So we make sure that we have all our different test calls created. We'll try different inputs, and then we will again call all of those created test calls, assert that the data there is correct. Then we'll update it with some new information, read again. Then we'll delete all of those resources, and then again assert that those resources are not accessible afterwards. So that will be our, let's say, testing goal that we want to accomplish. So we have one resource, and we'll test all of the CRUD functionality against it. All right, so let's proceed with generating the case. So what next? We see that there are some flags for this particular command, which is the feature name. So the feature name is actually this one, so that it knows where to store this test case. All right, so sorry. So -f. Let's type test APIs. Nothing happens. All right. Test API Swagger. And what we need as well is -t, but by default it will just create the test case for our functional test case, test scenario. So just enter, and we see that we have a test case called resource CRUD. Great, that's what we wanted. And right here, so we have description. We can call it like, say, why the hell we created this test scenario. If it's because some, I don't know, Jira ticket or something like that, you can do it, right? All in all, let's say automation workshop test API call resource code functionality test, right? Something like that. So there you have the base fields of the test case, that this like vars, variables. So the variables that we will use for the test steps that we get in here.